Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello to all of my friends and to the Honorable Lecturer, Sir Wali Ardiansyah. Today, I am Vani Anastasia from 5PD class would like to do a presentation about developing hypothesis entitled Further Experiment. So, let's get started. Let's start it with the definition. What is hypothesis? A hypothesis is an assumption, a precise, testable statement of what the researchers predict will be the outcome of the study. So simply, we can say that an hypothesis is a specific statement of prediction. So in here, an hypothesis can be our assumption, our opinion, our statement that we would like to predict as a result in our research. After we get to know more about, after we did an experiment of it. An hypothesis described in concrete rather than theoretical terms. Next, function of hypothesis. There are 4 functions of hypothesis in our research. The first one, hypothesis helps in making an observation and experiment possible. It means, absolutely, hypothesis can help us making our research, doing our observation be more possible because we have a goal to prove, we have a goal to achieve with the hypothesis. Second, it becomes the start point for the investigation. Yes, it is because with having a hypothesis will be our point, will be our purpose that we need to prove, that we need to look the truth of it in our experiment. The third one, hypothesis help in verifying the observation. Yes, same as the first function. And the last one, it helps in directing the inquiries in the right direction. Besides the function of hypothesis in the research, there are also 4 characteristics of hypothesis. The first one, the hypothesis should be clear and precise to consider it to be reliable. The second one, if the hypothesis is a relational hypothesis, then it should be stating the relationship with the variables. Third one, the hypothesis must be specific and should have scope for conducting more tests. The last one, the way of explanation of the hypothesis must be very simple, and it should also be understood that the simplicity of the hypothesis is not related to its significance. Next, how hypotheses work. So, in research, before we are going to do an experiment, we have a belief in something and you are seeking to prove it. So this is how hypotheses work. Because in hypothesis, we need to prove our assumption, our statement, is it true or not. But just be remember, my friend, that hypothesis can be a false or a true statement that is tested in the research to check its authenticity. It means our statement, our assumption doesn't mean have to always be true because in here the purpose is we need to prove it. So doesn't mean our hypothesis is wrong, it doesn't mean it's false, because hypothesis can be false or a true statement. And let's see in here. In here there are 2 words that commonly used in a hypothesis. The word is if and then. But if and then we find this word often in our lecture PowerPoint that shows most of the word is if and then. But my friend, in a hypothesis, also usually framed as a question. So we can use a question models like why and how. Next, after we getting know more about a hypothesis, about the definition, and how does it work, we need to know more about how our hypothesis is good enough for our research. The first one is our hypothesis should be written in clear, concise language. Second, have both an independent and dependent variable. So, by having a both independent and dependent variable, we can compare how the independent can affect the dependent variable. Third, be falsifiable. It means, is it possible to prove or disprove the statement? So it means we need to think that does our hypothesis is possible to prove or disprove with our experiment, with the data that we get. The fourth, make a prediction or speculate on an outcome. So it means we need to predict how does it will go with our hypothesis. And next, the fifth, be practicable. It means can you measure the variables in question? So in here we can think or we can predict does our variables we have and can we make it to be a question and for our hypothesis. And the last one, hypothesize about a proposed relationship between two variables or an intervention into these relations. Next, after we get to know more about hypothesis, now we continue about the title for our experiment. What is title? So my friend, the title is summarize the main idea of our study. So in here, the title is without doubt the part of a paper that is read the most, and it is usually read first. So of course, in here, the title is the important things in our research, in our experiment, because the title is the first thing we see. It is same as same with the book we have. So the more interested our title, the more interesting our title, the more interested people to read it. Because and then how do we know our title is good enough? So my friend, a good title contains the fewest possible words that adequately describe the content and or purpose of your research paper. So it means the good title is contain the fewest possible words. It doesn't mean a title have to be long words, because just we need this. The title can describe the contents of our research. So by just reading our title, the reader can predict what is it about. Let's see here. If the title is too long, it usually contains too many unnecessary words. For example, a study to investigate the blah blah blah. It sounds like this title is too long because there are many unnecessary words. So, in here, on the other hand, a title which is too short of a used word which are too general. So, we need to consider our title is we need to make it not too long or not too short. But in a way, in a short one, we also do not need to use the words that which are too general. For example, American politics could be the title of a book, but it doesn't provide any information on the workings of a research paper, because just by reading American politics, we we have no idea what kind of this work, like is it this focus politic, like African people in the politics. So in the title we need to make it a little bit clear. Next, in here, the following parameters can be used to help us to formulate a suitable research paper title. So there are three following parameters that we can use. The first one is the purpose of the research. In here, our title can show the purpose of the research. So use the words that can show the purpose of our research so the reader can know what does this research about. Second, the narrative tone of the paper, typically defined by the type of the research. In here, we can use the word how we use in here we can use the word that show how this research about. And the third one is the methods used. So we can also use word that shows that how our title explain of our research. So those are the following parameters for the title. And thank you. So guys, I think that's all for the presentation today. I apologize for all the deficiencies in my PowerPoint today, in my presentation today. I hope you enjoy it and thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.